Rickmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, rickmotech.com.
Hello race fans and welcome to the Darlington Raceway. We are live here for the XMS Elite Xfinity Series, ready to rock and roll for 148 laps here at the Lady in Black. I'm Liam Irvig. Joined up in the booth will be Jordan Bracco. He'll be here soon. He's currently pulling some double duty for Racers Elite, so he's going to get in here as soon as he possibly can. But for now, we'll go give you some track facts here on the egg-shaped oval here in Darlington, South Carolina. It's just about 1 1/3 miles. And we've got a 78-degree track temperature here. Air temperature, rather. Track temperature sits about 80 degrees. We take on the Lady in Black tonight for 148 laps. We're going to see some stripes, some slides, and some amazing racing for the win. Can Alan Dobbs increase his points lead today, or does Fox close in? We're going to find out here shortly. So Alan Fox is on the pole here for today's race. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get a word with him before we get started. Hey, Alan, it's Liam up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Liam. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Seems like you've got yourself a hot rod underneath you, and that Raymore and Flanagan Furniture Mattresses. First XMS win, 73.
Yeah, I don't know where I got a 10.5 on these guys. I just got lucky that it actually stuck in 3 and 4, but yeah, hopefully I can keep it up front this week, unlike last week where I gave it away in the second half. So.
Well, you're currently coming into this race 15 points behind Alan Dobbs for the championship at this point. Do you think you're going to be able to keep it up front and close in on that lead?
I hope so, man. I'm hunting for those extra playoff points, so trying to get as many as I can going into the playoffs. I know we run them through every round here, so definitely just want to have those. We got a real strong field this year.
You definitely do, and you've been running strong so far this season. Looking forward to seeing how you do moving forward.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully I can keep the tires on me. This week it looks like we're wearing out the right rear instead of the right front, so we'll see how it works.
Well, awesome stuff. We'll send you back to prime time. Best of luck here throughout the course of 148 laps.
Thanks, fellas. Talk to you later.
That was your pole sitter, Alan Fox. And now we're going to go ahead and give you our grid for the day. Alan Fox on the pole, Jordan, with a 29.015. He's got almost a 1/10.5 over Nicholas Weatherby in second place.
Yeah, and that's going to be big. You know, I think this is going to be a track position race. You're going to want to be as out front as possible and in that clean air.
Definitely going to want to be in that clean air. As we move forward with the starting grid, Jacob Brower in row number 2, Ed Morris Jr. with a super strong qualifying run, Joshua Vidal, Jacob Jensen, Alan Dobbs, Bryce Senesac, Mike Rominger and Daniel Krim make up your top 10, and then we go to Forrest Smith, Frank Orsini. Just after them, we've got Michael Thwaites, Frank Orsini is row number 7. I think it was Cogswell that we were missing there. Anyways, David Cologne, Jonathan Cogswell, Paul Irvin, Matt Cochran, Nicholas Caldwell, Dustin Carroll, Michael Self, Kyle Knapp, Mike Campeggio, Ed Morris, Todd Keir, Josh Wren. Pace cars made that hard left turn. We are ready to go racing at the Lady in Black. Waiting on the green flag, and there it is in the air. Alan Fox is going to lead him down, but Weatherby gets a strong start up on the top side.
Yeah, and this is going to be a tight one. You know, Darlington always feels a lot smaller than it is, and you're really going to have to time your moves.
Couple
really
in the wall, Michael Thwaites. Taylor Bertram goes around, a couple of them hard into the inside wall. That's the 42. of Kyle Knapp, Michael Thwaites, Jonathan Cogswell, and Michael Self all caught up in this one.
Big hits early. That's not going to be good for these guys at all. Some of these guys are going to be really hurt.
Of course, no fast repairs here. You knew that the possibility was definitely there of an early crash with so many cars right up on top of each other. Let's take a look to see what happened to Michael Thwaites here coming up off of the corner. The 86. Is that Bertram? Gets up into the wall and just nowhere to go but to bounce back down.
Yeah, and then like I was saying, right there before they started going wild was, this place is very small as far as racing line. So, I mean, as soon as he was in trouble, I mean, there's just about nowhere for anybody to go.
Yeah, you see the 84 of Cogswell just kind of getting up in there. Bertram able to drive it back, but a lot of cars with heavy, heavy damage here to start this one. Already happening in front of Self here. Self might have good onboard.
Oh,
I tell you
thought
what,
he was going to keep it off of there.
tell you what, Jordan, with this low amount of sunlight that we have, we're just past sunset here in South Carolina. It really doesn't make the smoke super visible. It almost makes it look darker. Just with the way that the light hits it. So it was tough for these guys to
100%.
really see what was going on outside of that corner.
Yeah, it's kind of in that little bit of a period where the lights aren't really working necessarily. They're not really kind of illuminating the track fully, and the sun's still kind of taking over, but it's still pretty dark, and it just kind of messes with everything. And you got to really wait for that sun to come out to really kind of have any kind of good effect, or the lights to come out. My apologies.
They're on for sure, but they're not affecting this track at all, like you said.
Yeah, and I can imagine these guys definitely have a little bit more of attention and anxiousness to get going, and that first little bit of almost pre-race jitters and start of the race jitters is going to kind of get you going and get you in some wrong spots.
We saw that there on the first lap. Might have been a little bit of jitters, might have just been getting up too high, getting up into the dirty stuff, sliding up the racetrack, but a lot of guys getting all over each other, and unfortunately this track is only 2.5 lanes wide, so you get 3 wide, somebody's going to have to give. And I don't necessarily think that's what happened there. I think it was just kind of a case of, cold tires getting out in dirty stuff, and one guy got the wall, and it was just kind of a chain reaction there.
Yeah, and I mean, I would almost be scared to go into a corner, side by side with somebody with how this track feels.
Well, it's not impossible, but it's definitely going to be tough. Doubled up once again. This time Weatherby's going to take the inside. Got himself a nice start. Able to jump on the green flag just a hair before the 73 got to the start-finish line. Well, after one quick caution here, we're going to take the restart with 5 laps complete. 150 here at Darlington, not the 148 like I had initially said. Take a look at some of the guys. Michael Self, he's gone a lap down. Josh Wren, Nicholas Caldwell, Taylor Bertram, Michael Thwaites, they are all in the pits. Joe Darnell, he's coming out onto the racetrack. He's going to see if he can gain 4 laps on the rest of the field. Up off of turn number 4 once again, ready for the restart. Into the restart zone. Green flag is out and Weatherby's on it.
Yeah, being that control car is a huge benefactor for this track.
A bit cleaner here through turns 1 and 2. Coming up off of 2, though, there goes the 84. Gets right up next to the wall, and there's Josh Vidal. That 26 machine. Oh, one up in the wall. That's Ed Morris. Vidal going to try to get to his inside, but he's got to check up. They're 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of that tonight. Anytime somebody gets into any kind of situation, especially coming out of a turn or mid-turn, it's really going to stack things up.
Oh, wow, big sideways there for Helen Dobbs coming up off of turn 2.
That was a big slide. That's gonna make those tires absolutely pissed off. Oh, it looks like I can't even get it out of my mouth.
That was Forrest Smith. Yeah, got up into the wall a little bit. Rominger got to his inside, but Smith did not lose any momentum there with that tap. He's going to send it in up on the top side. Big time drive compared to Rominger. It looks like Michael Self in the 91. He's back out onto the racetrack.
Smith had a big slide off that corner. He's in the wall right now.
Yeah, he did. He's staying up on that wall, trying to stay out of the way. He's got something on that car that doesn't feel right. Eventually, now he's going to rock that top side once again. That thing is sliding. It is not doing what he needs it to.
Yeah, I know coming out of that turn, he had a massive slide and really got out of shape there.
That's some pretty good right rear damage. Back up front, though, Jacob Brower is taking over the race lead, and he is driving away from Weatherby. Got half a second on him. Alan Fox back in third place, your pole sitter, biding his time potentially. Maybe that car is more of a qualifier. We've got a long way to find out, though. Jacob Jensen in fourth place, just behind these guys. Your top 20 has been consistent on the left side of the screen. Josh Wren is back out onto the racetrack in 21st place. He's currently 3 laps down. Mike Campeggio getting repairs done. Joe Darnell, who started from the pit lane about 3 laps late. He's in 23rd place, currently 5 laps down. 4 laps down. Almost 5.
Yeah, and he's just going to have to... Oh, it looks like he got a little loose there.
Now he passes Mike Campeggio for the 22nd place. Campeggio still in the pits. He is still here, though. Caldwell, Bertram, Thwaites, and Knapp, I believe, have all elected to put it on the hauler. We'll keep that top 20 graphic going on the side for now. Position starts to change to the back. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that felt any good for those guys to get, taken out right there at the beginning of the race. And I definitely would have been quick enough, just about as quick as them to put it on the hauler.
Yeah, I mean, if you get that meatball this early in the race, it's just going to be tough to try to overcome that. This is not a track that you want to drive an ill-handling race car at. And, we'll find out what Forrest Smith is able to do. We saw how crinkled up his right rear is. Ed Morris also got up into the wall. He's trying to make a recovery. Right to the back bumper of Cogswell here. Bloomingdale, Georgia. Ed Morris, kind of a chief cook bottle washer here. Primetime Motorsports.
Yeah, it seems everybody here has kind of, not necessarily chilled out, but kind of fallen in line, kind of running that similar line through every corner and just kind of taking it a little bit easier there, kind of realizing how quickly things can change.
Alan Fox back up into the second place. He got around Weatherby. Weatherby's falling back about half a second to Fox. Jacob Brower's lead is still about 6.5 tenths, 7 tenths of a second right now. Jacob Jensen doing himself a pretty good job and consistent all season. Currently running in 4th place.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen pretty much that top 3, top 5, excluding Weatherby just a bit. He's had some rough, some rough luck here and there, but Fox, Brower, Jensen, Dobbs, they've been relatively in the top 5 just about every race for the entirety of the race, and they definitely are showing the strength that they have. Senesac,
Trouble back straight away.
We're
still green, but Forrest Smith has gone around.
That's unfortunate. I mean, he's been fighting that thing a lot here at the early stages.
Really has. We'll come to the pit lane. We'll take a look to see what happened to him, and we'll keep going through the field. Right off of 2. He's going to get sideways. He's going to keep it off the wall. Great job keeping that thing off the wall.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that at all whatsoever, because normally when you come off that corner that sideways, you're headed for that inside wall, and there's nothing to stop it.
One thing that I want to bring up here is Bryce Senesac. Currently round number 9 on the season, and now he's trying to make a move to the inside of Weatherby for a top 5 spot. Weatherby gets a little bit loose coming up off of turn number 4. That's going to allow Senesac to pull even with him down the front straightaway, try to pull that slider into 1. And Senesac is a guy, I think he's really improved as the caution has come out once again. Todd Keir has gone off. Josh Wren also in this one. Caution out for the second time. Wren sitting in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to get that thing going, but it didn't want to go at all.
Let's see what happened to Wren here. Oh, man, Todd Keir gets up into the wall. Wren has nowhere to go but into him.
Yeah, and that goes right back. That goes right back into what I was talking about, how when something happens in front of you, there's just nowhere to go at this track.
Right on board here with the 36. You could see that one. He was really trying to turn. That thing was not turning.
Yeah, and once you start trying to put more wheel into a car that's already not turning, you're just going to end up sliding through that right front and not really doing much of anything. And I mean, it's all you really can do, but it's not going to do anything very much to help your situation.
No, not at all. Meanwhile, pit stops will help your situation, and we are seeing everybody on the lead lap come in. Michael South going to stay out to get the wave around here. Maybe just got it.
Yeah, at a track like Darlington, tires are going to be an absolute necessity because you want that thing as under control as possible. We almost have a collision there at the exit of pit road between 3 drivers. It looked like Fox, Vidal, and I'm not sure who that other, I want to say it was Dobbs.
Either Dobbs or Brower there, or not Brower. Brower won race. I think, yeah, you're right. It was Fox, Dobbs, and Vidal. They all 3 came together. Vidal almost snuck away that race lead. Was able to come out in second off of pit lane. Ed Morris Sr. has stayed out. Number 14, Primetime Chevy Camaro.
Will get himself some lead laps and get him a front row starting spot.
Well, we'll find out here if Ed Morris decides to make a pit stop. He's going to try to run this out on old tires. We've got the stage end at lap number 50. Still a long way to go here on this set of tires. But hey, maybe saving one for the end might be a good call.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you never know that possible green-white checkered that you get.
lights still on the iRacing pace car. Let's take a moment to see what elite scoring does for us.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here, featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Apologies for that delay there. Doubled up, ready to rock and roll once again. Jacob Brower, the inside or on the outside of Ed Morris, who stayed out. Brower, the first driver on fresh tires. Then we've got Vidal, Alan Dobbs, Bryce Senesac, and Alan Fox make up row number 3. Jensen and Weatherby. Then we've got Krim and Rominger rounding out your top 10. Ready to go here for 27 more laps. Finish out the stage and get those all-important stage points. Points leader Dobbs for the... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for someone like Fox, you want to grab as much as you can. You're right there in second place. The pace car drops off. Ed Morris gets a good launch out. He'll lead these guys into turn 1, but Alan Fox is right there in the point standings. I want to say it was, the last I looked, it's about 15 points off of Alan Dobbs. So he wants to make as much.
Here comes Dobbs up to the top side. Ed Morris was holding these guys up. Brower was trying to find a way around. He couldn't. That allowed Dobbs to move up to the top side. He takes the race lead, and now here comes Brower trying to take the lead back, and here's Morris up against the wall with Fox right behind him.
Yeah, and that's really going to let these other two guys, Brower and Dobbs, really get a massive
from
run.
Fox. Morris down the racetrack, down into the, that looked like Josh Vidal. Now here comes Fox to the middle. Fox goes around down the back straightaway. Contact with Krim. Caution is out once again.
That's going to be a massive blow to Allen right there. That's, it doesn't seem to be that destroyed. He does look like he got away a little bit with minor damage, but I know he took a good shot there in the I want to say it was the left front.
Here's where it's all starting from the restart. You can see the 14 up front. Alan Dobbs squeaks up to the outside to try to get around him. Fox is going to try to get a run up on the top side over Vidal. Cut down. Not quite able to. Doesn't have the room to get down. So he's stuck in behind the 14. He's going to give him a little bit of a shot on corner entry. Sends him up the racetrack, down into Vidal. Fox tries to go the middle 3 wide. And Jensen coming up the track.
Yeah, and I just don't think Fox expected, Ed Morris Sr. to check up as much as he did there. And, that ultimately sent Ed Morris up the track, and, it's just a big chain reaction from there on.
Look like the damage on the 73 is too terrible. He should be able to continue on. I'm not sure what the speed is going to look like on that. And the 14 did nothing wrong there. He's out there, he's trying to race for his position, he's trying to strategy call. I know it's not the easiest place to pass a slower car, especially when you're on a restart with a bunch of guys around you, but, I think it was just kind of 2-3 guys, 3 if you include Jensen on the bottom, coming back up. It was just 3 guys trying to get into the same spot, and one of those deals that unfortunately is going to hinder a fast car's ability to race for the win.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that he can at least get something back. Kind of maybe lose a lap here, but get enough fixed that he can get a good grip on it still and try to salvage what he could here. Sorry for the stutter.
And on the other side of the coin, Alan Dobbs just took over the race lead. Now he sees his closest competitor in points potentially not even able to get a stage point. Bryce Senesac, he's up in third place in the points, and I know I said that he was kind of most improved earlier, but after a couple of tough races at the beginning of the season, Bryce Senesac has really upped his game, been in the top 5 a lot. He's got 2 top 5s on the season, 5 top 10s, and he's really done a great job. He's got 25 bonus points throughout the course of the season too, getting stage points. Paul Urban in the 48, we saw him in close quarters with that incident there. He's running in 4th in the points. Currently 47 back.
Yeah, and he's one of those drivers that seems to find himself in good positions later on in the race as well. Seems to kind of pull off some good strategy here and there and get himself within the top 5 or so and kind of hang on for it.
See what we've got. We know Dobbs is one of the quickest guys in the series, and this field is significantly smaller than it was when we started this show. Alan Fox is still he's just getting off of the pits now. He's going to be 1 lap down, 19th place. I mean, if he gets a quick caution, is able to get around Daniel Krim, or rather Forrest Smith there, running in 18th position, should be able to get back onto the lead lap with the free pass. We'll find out here. We've got the pace car about ready to make that hard left turn. And it seems like it's so much harder of a turn here than anywhere else with how far down that pit lane is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like he takes a full-on 90-degree turn as they reach the Geico restart zone. Dobbs fires off. Brower actually sticking with him a little bit more than we have seen people this season. But they dive off into turn 1, 2 wide behind.
Senesac to the inside. Try to take away the spot from Killo. Killo almost tags the wall. Senesac has to react a little bit. Down the racetrack he goes as Cogswell tries to figure out where to go. Not enough space in the middle right there.
Nah, it's very tight around this track as Dobbs is fighting on the outside around Jacob Brower.
Brower tried to send it down there on the bottom. He had the grip in the middle of the corner, but he's just not able to use up all the racetrack. I know I say that each and every week, but man, this track is so tough because there's so little to use. I mean, you've got 3 lanes of pavement here, and yeah, you can get 3 wide down this back straightaway, but you go through these corners 3 wide, you have to be still and perfect, like Vince Welch said about the wheel. You have got to be perfect to make it happen. Here is Jacob Brower, tries once again on the race lead. Nothing doing, coming up off of turn number 4.
Yeah, any hiccup in these corners, and it's going to set you back a lot. It's a fast racetrack, but it's very easy to kind of catch yourself into the wall and kind of really put you down. As Brower does a crossover, dives to the inside of Dobbs, going to make a fight for it again.
Dobbs getting right up next to that outside wall. A little bit sideways coming up off, but he is doing really good. However, when we talked with Alan Fox in the pre-race interview, he talked about how much right rear you're going to use on the longer runs here. Is that detrimental? As we've got one in the wall, that's the 71. David Killough, he bounces down into Cogswell. Killough in the wall once again.
You see everybody taking evasive actions, trying to get out of the way. As Forrest Smith almost demolishes him.
Mike Rominger trying to take the top side over Dustin Carroll. Carroll can't quite clear him. Now he does down the front straightaway. It's a battle for 10th place as Rominger is trying to take it away and try to get that final stage point.
Brower really trying to make a move there, and it's just not sticking on that bottom line.
He's continuing to work that bottom, and now he's going to see what Jacob Jensen has in terms of momentum. Going to be a big bump down the front straightaway, but he keeps committing to the bottom there in turns 3 and 4, and I think that's interesting. You know, I've always figured that the outside here is where you want to be, as close to the wall to try to widen up that momentum, keep the thing wound up. It seems like Brower is able to find some speed down there, and you got to wonder how much it would improve his lap times if he was able to use up all that track coming up off of the corner. So right now he's gonna slide up a little bit. Dobbs not able to keep his nose in front. This time it's Brower across the line.
Yeah, Dobbs really kind of sliding up there. May have grabbed the wall a little bit, but he was definitely close, running that Kyle Larson line almost.
Unable to use that outside momentum. Down the back straightaway, almost a little bit of a touch, and now Dobbs is going to kind of try to pinch that entry down to Jacob Brower. Momentum back in the favor of Dobbs. He's going to get clear for the race lead once again, and that is exactly what you have to do to try to keep that quicker car behind you. If he's got a better lane, you've got to make sure that he can only run in that lane. Brower a little bit loose coming up off. So is Jensen, and Brower to the bottom side once again. He's going to try to send it in deep. Slides up the racetrack at the midpoint. A little bit loose for Dobbs, but he's going to have the run coming up off of the corner. Paul Irvin's got a problem.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for him. You know, like we were saying, he's been doing really well, but...
Oh, he got the wall coming up off of turn 2. Big slide there. Oh, man, I wonder if he was trying to get it to the pits. It's okay for now. Back up front, the top 3 all under a blanket. Bryce Sedesak trying to chase down Joshua Vidal for 4th. Weatherby on an island of his own right now as Frank Orsini leads over Cogswell, Carroll, and Rominger in a group that was slightly broken up by that Irvin slide. Another 2 seconds back to David Glow in the 71. Got into the wall earlier. We're not keeping a Darlington stripe count here today. Just know that there are a lot.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to have a ton more, if not 2 or 3 on some of these cars by the end of this thing.
Ed Morris, a guy who we know has gotten a stripe already today. Trying to recover, get back into the top 10 after some contact earlier on. Matt Cochran in that 44. He's doing himself a pretty good job. Holding on to 13th place as he's got the 8 just in front of him. That's Joe Darnell. Joe is 4 laps down at the moment. Ed Morris Sr., we saw him stay out. Got caught up in that accident. A little bit of damage on the front end. Paul Irvin, we saw him with that fantastic save. Wasn't quite able to get it to the pits, but kept the car straight, kept us on the green. Michael Self involved in an earlier caution as well.
Yeah, and for Paul Irvin, he's just going to have to hold on here, try to stay on the lead lap for the next couple of laps, get that, caution, stage end caution to come out, and just kind of reset and, run that next stage as best as possible.
Rominger able to get around Weatherby, puts him up into 9th place, now sets his sights on Frank Orsini just in front of him. Almost had a run coming up off of 2, but not quite enough to get there. Jacob Brower is able to take over the race lead. We missed it. We'll show you what happened. Dobbs tagged the wall coming up off of 2.
Yeah, and that was all that Brower needed to just kind of get by.
He sent it in deep there, trying to keep it up there on the outside. Wasn't quite able to keep Brower behind him, and Brower's going to get clear for the race lead. But for how long? Dobbs is right on his rear bumper. This is the live shot now. We were in the same spot on the replay, but this is the live shot. Dobbs right to the rear bumper of Brower coming up off of turn number 2. He's going to stay on that rear bumper down the back straightaway. Oh, he's going to get into him, gets him a little loose. Up the racetrack goes Brower off the wall. Dobbs back into the race lead, and I'm not sure the 3 is going to be happy with that. Jacob Jensen gets right in behind him.
Slightest.
There'll be 3 laps to go in the stage here, and that was what it was for, the stage win. Brower's going to get sideways coming up off of 2, smacks the wall pretty good. Now here comes Jensen down to the inside for second place. Jensen going to try to slide up through the mid part of the corner. Can Brower keep it out of the wall and get that outside momentum rolling? Once again into the wall, and you've got to think that damage might be affecting the arrow on that number 3. Jacob Jensen into second place.
Yeah, and Brower's definitely going to have some words for that as we get closer to the end of the stage here. That's, you know, they were racing like it was the last lap of this race, not the stage.
That reminded me a lot of what happened between Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, and Brad Keselowski. These guys are bouncing off each other. The only difference here is that one of the drivers involved in that contact was the beneficiary. 2 laps to go in the stage, and the caution is... Oh, the caution is out now. My numbers were confused. I thought this was a 148-lap race. I saw it was 150. Stage is over now at lap 48. So, I apologize for that faux pas on my end. Alan Dobbs wins the stage, and that does explain why he was so aggressive there on lap 46. Jacob Jensen in second, Jacob Brower in third, Bryce Senesac, Josh Vidal, Jonathan Cogswell, Dustin Carroll, Mike Rominger, Frank Orsini, and Nicholas Weatherby rounding out the top 10. It should be open this time. We're going to go ahead and step side by side, break down what happens on the pit lane, and see if we can't talk with Alan Dobbs on the other side. We'll be right back.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Back live here on Sim Racing Media, and things are shaking up a little bit here. Jacob Jensen is going to inherit the race lead after pit stops here. Bryce Senesac in second, Jonathan Cogswell, Dustin Carroll, Mike Rominger, Nicholas Weatherby, Josh Vidal, Paul Irvin. Then we've got to go back to 9th place for Alan Dobbs and Jacob Brower. See if we can't try to quickly get with our stage winner, Alan Dobbs. Hey, Alan, it's Liam and Jordan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
We'll try to make it quick here, but fantastic job there getting the stage win. Got a couple of moves to talk about. First off, that one on the restart around Ed Morris on the top side.
Yeah, that was it just kind of opened up there. I didn't expect that, but when I saw the hole, I just had to hammer down for it because, I mean, it's really hard to pass here, so can't give up that kind of opportunity.
And then coming to the stage win, you and Jacob Brower racing hard, got together a couple of times. Kind of talk us through that.
Yeah, I haven't watched the replay, so I don't know exactly what all happened, but I felt like he just put me in the wall to get the lead. So, he already ran me over for a win that he didn't even get at Indy a couple weeks ago. So I'm not going to put up with that shit. So if he wants to run me like that, I'll run him like that right back.
There we go. We'll get you back to Caldwell Racing. Appreciate you joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Stage winner, Alan Dobbs. Jumps up his points lead just a little bit more. Yeah, we saw that racing between the two of them. Some words there coming out of Alan. We'll see if that storyline persists throughout the course of the race. Stage 2 about to be underway. The pace car makes the hard left turn. Jacob Jensen leads him down into the Geico restart zone, and he's on it. Carroll just behind him spins the tires a little bit. It's going to allow Senesac to get up into second place, and Cogswell as well up into third.
Yeah, and I think that's going to really show how good that clean air is, as Jensen's able to pull almost a half second here at this restart.
Brower doing a little bit better through traffic at the moment than Dobbs is. Dobbs stuck on the outside of Vidal. He's behind Orsini. Meanwhile, Brower is able to get around Paul Irvin, puts him into 7th place, up 2 from the restart. Jacob Jensen holds out of the race lead. The scoring is wrong. It does not. He is not in the pits, as you can tell. He's increasing that gap by about half a second. We got a big sideways moment there coming up off of turn number 2 as Orsini's all the way on the bottom. Orsini works to the inside of Josh Vidal. Vidal going to try to keep his nose up there on the top side, just barely enough to keep Orsini from clearing, but he's going to dive it in into turn number 1 and complete that pass for 9th position. Oh, big slide for Orsini.
How did he hang on to that?
Maybe that's what we saw the lap prior. Huge sideways moment there for the 60. What a save. Like you said, Jordan, I don't know how you can hang on to a car like that at Darlington.
Yeah, no, usually that's gone and wrecked.
Orsini keeping things exciting here. Coming up off of turn number 2 once again. Not as much of a slide that time, but that's definitely going to hurt that right rear tire. Now Alan Dobbs is trying to close in on Dustin Carroll. Joshua Vidal gets up into the wall. Gonna allow Orsini to get around him. Irvin thought about it. I think better of it for now. And Vidal gets up into the wall again. It's gonna cost him 2 more spots potentially. As Calo tries to get down to the inside. Calo a little bit sideways, and Vidal once again touching that wall.
Yeah, the early runs on these fresh tires, it definitely shows how out of, how loose these things and how cold these tires are, really sliding around, having to be careful with your braking and your on throttle.
Yeah, and as the temperature, the sun goes down, the temperature's going to drop. We're going to get more grip in this racetrack. That is not by any stretch of the means gonna make this thing perfect or make this car handle like a dream. As Senesac drives it in deep into turn 3, cuts down that lead by a couple of car lengths, but Jacob Jensen coming up off of the corner, he's able to extend it just a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think that clean air is an absolute blessing to him. You know, able to just not really have to worry about anybody as well, just able to run his line, get the runs that he wants. You know, they're able to close in on him as they kind of dive into those corners, but he's able to just drive on out.
I feel like Senesac, he's driving into the corner and he's gaining a couple of car lengths. But he's losing so much in the middle part of the corner and off, at least in 3 and 4. Now Cogswell gets right to the rear bumper as Senesac. Remember, Senesac third in points right now. He's trying to take advantage of the fact that Alan Fox didn't get any stage points. He was 15, or 14 rather, behind second place. Gains a few during the stage. You see Weatherby get up into the wall coming up off. Gains a few during the stage and is running significantly better than Alan Fox. He's 5 positions better than Alan Dobbs. Not a bad day for Bryce, Jordan.
No, not at all. And I mean, he's just going to continue to just kind of hang out here in second, not really try to push that hard, try to save some tire, hold off the guys behind him, and just kind of be there at the end. Is there a caution out on the racetrack?
Caution is out. Let's try to take a look as Forrest Smith has himself a problem. Down the back straightaway, heavy damage to the front end of that.
Yeah, I think that one's going to make him call it a day here.
Racing with Michael Self. This should put Alan Fox back on the lead lap. It wasn't there. All by himself.
Yeah, just loses it, and then, you know, that's what I expect most people to do once we have that slide off of the corner. You know, that's what I expect every time. So when they do save it, it's amazing, but, you know, that's inevitable right there.
Yeah, and that is indeed going to call it for Forrest Smith. He's going to put it up on the hauler. I believe Alan Fox is going to be able to get either the free pass or the wave around here. Frank Orsini's going to stay out, prevent that wave around. Alan Fox getting his lap back up on the outside. It'll put 16 cars on the lead lap here as we approach the halfway point here in Darlington.
Yeah, and Alan Fox is going to be a man on a mission to get back because he's going to need every single point he can get. You know, not getting any stage points, not really having a cushion for the race. You know, he's going to need every bit that he can get back.
It's going to be a tough hill for him to climb, but the way that 73 has performed all season, I'd say he's just as capable as anybody else.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's been one of the powerhouses this season, along with, you know, Brower and Senesac and Dobbs. You know, they've been in contention for wins just about every week.
And that's all you can ask for out of your drivers, as Orsini's going to come into the pits this time, give Jacob Jensen the race lead back. Yeah, that's about all you can ask for you guys, is to just take advantage of the situations that you're given. You're not always going to be dealt a great hand, but just got to keep your foot in it, keep your head in the game, and you never know how these things are going to end.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always a luck of the draw, you know. Like you're sitting at the poker table, you know, Texas Hold'em, you were dealt a terrible hand, but you're able to play it, you know, the right way and come away with the win on that hand.
85 laps to go to figure out who's got the winning hand here in Darlington. Jensen leads over Senesac, then Calo, Weatherby, Cogswell, Brower, Rominger, Alan Dobbs, Dustin Carroll, and Joshua Vidal rounding out your top 10. Ed Morris Sr., Matt Cochran, Frank Orsini, Paul Irvin, and then Michael Self. Alan Fox is getting some more pit work done, probably getting some repairs and 4 tires, fill it up with fuel.
Yeah, and for him, he's going to be at the tail end as it is. So, I mean, you might as well get what you can get and really just fight back.
I think you're absolutely right there. He's going to have to start at the tail end, taking the wave around, so you may as well get everything you can. Ed Morris Jr. is the only car 1 lap down, so should we get another caution, he will be eligible for the free pass. Daniel Krim is the last driver on the racetrack right now. Forrest Smith has put it away, so is Joe Darnell, Todd Keir, Josh Wren, Mike Campeggio, Nicholas Caldwell, Taylor Bertram, and Michael Thwaites. Getting doubled up front. Jacob Jensen, he's going to take the outside.
Yeah, and I mean, outside is definitely the line to be, in my opinion. You know, you can really hang it out there, really keep the momentum and the speed up. It's very treacherous. You know, you'll get very close to that wall, and, you know, just one little minor, slip up, and you're going to be in the fence. And, you know, that pace car dives off. You know, we're getting ready to set these things free.
Set them free once again. 66 laps complete this time out of 150. Green flag is out. Jacob Jensen throttles it up, gets a strong restart. Here's Weatherby with a big push from Brower up on the top side.
Jensen able to pull away, and these guys are fighting inches apart here. Weatherby all over the rear end of Senesac there.
Side by side just behind is David Calo and Jacob Brower go side by side. Calo a little bit loose on the bottom, slides up in front of Brower. Brower tries the crossover, and now here comes Alan Dobbs trying to figure out which way to go. Brower's got the run down the front straightaway. He's got the preferred line. He's going to dive it in on Calo, and Dobbs is going to try to follow him through. A little bit of contact as Calo tried to slam that door shut. Now Calo gets loose coming up off of the corner. David keeps it straight. Rominger has to react, and Vidal gets to the outside of Mike. Oh, another loose moment there for Calo. He's going to slide up into the wall. Vidal gets up into him, and there's more contact. Both of them hard into the outside wall.
Wow.
We stay green for the time being. Jacob Jensen still leads over Bryce Senesac. Nicholas Weatherby moves out of the inside for third, and Jacob Brower just ran the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he is definitely a man on the mission right now, trying to fight through the traffic for one. With these guys, I think Weatherby's holding him up just a touch to where he's not able to get the run that he wants off the corner, and, you know, trying to pass on that inside is damn near impossible.
Try to get a look here with the 71 getting sideways mid-corner. Gets loose coming up off of turn 2. Seems pretty clean from this point on. Just going to dive it in with just too much speed, get loose, chase it up the track. Vidal just kind of monster trucks over him, gets up into the outside wall.
Yeah, Vidal finds himself down pit road right now, trying to maybe get some repairs.
Jacob Jensen continues to lead. He's got 0.3 of a second over Senesac, who's closing in a little bit after that initial gap where Jensen was able to get on the restart. You saw how he pulled away in turns 1 and 2, and now here comes Senesac diving it in deep on Jensen. These guys running virtually the same line. Jacob Jensen trying to run that low line as best as he can through turns 3 and 4. Doing a pretty decent job. He was about a 10th quicker that time around than Senesac. Bauer in 4th, Dobbs in 5th. Got ourselves a nice battle out here, just outside the top 10. Alan Fox trying to chase down Frank Orsini and salvage as many points as he possibly can today. Meanwhile, Frank Orsini is trying to chase down Paul Urban. Seen Orsini slide a couple of times today. Obviously, that big slide coming up off of 2. But tell you what, he's done a real good job of keeping those wheels underneath him.
Yeah, and for just Darlington as a whole, that's not easy. You know, no matter the conditions, it's hard to keep that car under you.
Yeah, I mean, through the seams, through the progressive banking, I mean, the absolute apron of this track is pretty flat. And I mean, there's 2 or 3 different transitions all the way down to the bottom. Obviously, these cars are way too fast to make any grip on the bottom of the racetrack, but how thin this top groove is, only 3 lanes wide, it really makes drivers think twice about when and where they're going to set up a pass. So Orsini gets right up to the rear bumper of Irvin, tries to move up half a lane higher. Irvin cuts it off. Orsini back down to the bottom. He's going to get a nice run coming up off of turn number 2. Does he have enough to try to send the nose to the inside into 3 and 4? Not quite this time around.
Yeah, you're really going to have to get a ton of speed. You'd be right on the rear bumper of that car in front of you, kind of try to pull a little bit of a side draft.
Irvin got a little bit loose. Here comes Orsini down to the inside. Irvin's going to fight him on the outside. There's a little bit of contact there. Gets Irvin sideways. Orsini has to let off a ton, and he's going to be in the clutches of Alan Fox now.
And he just looks like he kind of goes to the side, says, hey, you take it.
All right, let me see what you can do. Fantastic stuff here just outside the top 10. Moving back up front, though, Senesac closing in ever so slightly on that 64. Top 5 all within a second of each other. Look at how Senesac dives it in there on corner entry into turn 3.
Yeah, he's diving. He's, you know, just about half a lane below, so he's kind of getting a little bit of that clean air. And if he's able to get a good drive off down there and kind of try to get alongside of Jensen, he could possibly clear him down the backstretch or go into the corner, you know, neck and neck.
Oh, Dobbs, man, he went full send to the inside of Nicholas Weatherby, trying to take over that 4th position. He did so, and here comes Senesac to the lead. He's trying to get up front and clear Jacob Jensen. Is he going to have enough coming up off the corner? Jensen stays strong up on the outside, but Senesac leads this lap by half a car length. Gotta wonder how hard does Jensen fight up on the top. He tries to keep it in there. He does keep it in there. He's got momentum up on the top side. How close to the wall do they get? Jensen off the wall, or he keeps it off the wall, I should say. Senesac has to give up a little bit, and Brower trying to figure out where is the momentum going. Don't look now, Alan Dobbs just behind this group. Jordan, this is crazy racing here on lap number 80.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely crazy. These guys always put on a good show, and, you know, for Jensen, he's just trying to find, you know, the best line for him and hold these guys back. You know, whatever's going to work for him is what he needs to run, and I think it's kind of that high side, maybe just half a car off the wall, is working the best for him.
Michael Self coming into the pits on the inside there. Jacob Jensen holds on to the race lead, but Jacob Brower in second. We've had the battle of the Allens. We've had the battle of the Jacobs. Now all we need is the Ed Morrises to race for a win, and we've got ourselves a bingo. Jensen a little bit loose coming up off of 2. Brower right to the rear bumper. The 54 of Jensen. Gonna look up to the top side. Jensen cuts him off. Does he have enough of a run to move down to the bottom? Doesn't look like it. Man, there is 2 feet or less separating these cars getting into the corner.
Yeah, Jensen's not going to give that up easy, and I think Brower might have to give a little bit of a touch just to get around it.
Maybe so, but is it going to be too early to try to set that up? I mean, we saw what happened between the 3 and the 38. Here's the 3 on the top side once again. Can Jensen get clear? Brower touches the wall. That's going to allow Jensen to close or to open up that gap by about a car length entering 1. And we appreciate everybody who's tuning in live. We know we've got a lot of Fox fans here. Jacob Jensen fan as well. Here comes Brower looking to the inside of Jensen, coming up off of turn number 4. Not quite enough to get there. But he is close. So these guys race for the lead. Now Dobbs trying to chase down Senesac so he can get closer to Brower. Obviously, he wants to win this race, but he knows the contact with Brower from before. He does not want to get beat by that 3. And vice versa. The 3 does not want to get beat by the 38.
Absolutely not. I mean, these guys are so tight in the points race. I mean, they're fighting for every single point they possibly can get.
And I mean, Brower's season hasn't gone the exact way that he's wanted. He's got 2 wins on the season, but he's also had, you know, some tougher runs. 2 wins, only 3 top 5s, and all 3 of those top 5s were his 3 top 10s. Jacob Brower looking for a way to try to right the ship. It might be a little late in the season to try to race for that championship. These guys do get a couple of drop weeks, and we'll have to see as we've got another battle here. Dobbs to the inside of Senesac. A little bit of contact. Dobbs gets sideways. Senesac down the racetrack. He's going to be able to gap that 38 just a little bit more, but they are losing time to the race leaders.
Yeah, and the more they fight, the more and more time they're going to lose. As Jensen's got Brower on the outside, that's going to be tight.
Jensen able to get clear of Brower just barely. You can see that 3 car sliding coming up off of turn number 4. And I don't even know how to bring it up, but at some point we're going to probably see green flag pit stops if we don't see another color flag.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's going to be another one of those, do you pit early? Do you pit on sequence? It's going to be a very questionable thing. You got to figure out what's going to work the best for you and what's going to give you the best chance to win.
This being one of the toughest pit lanes to get onto, especially under green flag. These guys are going to want to stay out as long as they possibly can, minimize that time lost. And, well, I tell you what, if you miss the pit lane, you are virtually done for if you don't get the help of a caution flag.
Yeah, missing pit lane is never a fun time. I would know it. I do it so often and have such a struggle with it. And, between Darlington and Dover, I think, are 2 of the hardest. They're in the wall. Nicholas Weatherby's in the wall there coming off of turn 4.
Allow Rominger to get up into the top 5. Jonathan Cogswell gets around him as well. Weatherby falls down to P7. Matt Cochran trying to make a pass here on David Calo. This is a battle for 12th place. Cochran's not a guy that we've talked about a whole heck of a lot this year, but running that elite scoring paint scheme. Toyota Supra with a little bit of camo on it, some hunting camo. He's doing himself a pretty good job here. Again, keeping the wheels underneath him. It's been an attrition type of race, so a lot of credit to these guys just racing the racetrack, not racing these other cars so hard. That's where the trouble really starts. At a track like this, when it changes so much throughout the course of a run, you stop fighting the racetrack and you start worrying about the other cars around you. It could definitely get you into some trouble.
Oh, 100%. And, these guys do a wonderful job of just racing each other, like you said. And I think that's why they have such great racing is they race the track, and it just kind of manufactures itself by just running the track.
Jacob Brower took over the race lead, and now Dobbs is trying to take over second. We'll show you what happened. Might have been a touch down the... Jensen got up into the wall down the front. Oh, no. Well, I thought he was going to get the wall there, but he's going to lose 2 more spots. It is possible that Jensen just kind of used up all of his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's highly likely.
Jacob Brower, he's out to a 1.7 second lead over Bryce Sedesak. Alan Dobbs sits in 3rd place, just about 3/4 second back. Jacob Jensen hasn't fallen too far off the 38, but these guys are definitely showing some wear in these tires after over 30 laps under green flag.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't sound like a ton of time, you know, compared to most tracks, but this place, I mean, you're tearing up that right rear, you're tearing up that right front. If you're kind of over driving, and you know, you're really easy to tear up stuff rather quickly here.
And that is, you know, just another thing. While it's easy to tear stuff up, it's so much easier to tear your stuff up once you've already done it a little bit. You know, if you get that big slide in the right rear, that could really hurt you in the long run. Just getting that extra rubber worn off of that tire, getting that extra heat in there, it could cause you some wear problems down the stretch.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's going to put you at a tire disadvantage, you know, even though you've stopped at the same time, you're putting yourself basically on an older set of tires than the guys around you.
Coming up off of 2, here's Dustin Carroll passing Nicholas Weatherby. Weatherby's going to try to get him back here down the front straightaway. Not quite enough to get that pass made, though. Jacob Brower is flying out front. You gotta wonder if he was saving anything at the beginning portion of this run, because he was flying through the field. Now he makes his way up to the race lead. He's got a 2-second gap. Last time around, it was just under a 10th in the favor of Senesac, but Brower is flying right now.
Yeah, and I just think he knew how to save his stuff a lot better than some of the others around him.
Using a little bit of that apron to help him turn on entry.
Yeah, and definitely using a little bit more of a kind of feathering the throttle as well.
Gentle inputs. I mean, as gentle as you can be in a crack like this. He's not really, you know, he's not sawing on the wheel. He's not changing a whole heck of a lot up what he has to do. too crazy for that number 3 right now.
Yeah, no, not at all. He's just carefully cruising around, just kind of getting himself around as quickly and safely as possible, just waiting for that pit window to start opening up.
Gotta wonder how soon is that going to be the last pit stop on lap 63, just 39 laps ago. We've got 48 to go, so I would anticipate within the next 5 to 10 laps. So then we're going to start seeing guys peel off. Darlington being Darlington, though, I would expect some guys to try to wait as long as they can, hoping for that caution. Maybe even anticipating that somebody might bring one out coming to the pit lane.
Yeah, and then once you start getting people on different tire strategies, you're going to end up having someone that's still slower than another and opens the possibility for someone just kind of getting run over.
Justin Carroll trying to keep Paul Urban behind him. This is for 7th place right now, and Urban he's running a great line. He's getting the momentum in the places he needs to. He's just not quite able to make that pass happen coming up off of the corner. See, he closes in the mid part of the corner, but on exit, Carroll is just a little bit quicker to the throttle, and he's able to start pulling that gap.
Yeah, and you know, he shows a lot of resilience and, you know, really knows how to run, you know, to his best of his ability and find himself in good positions towards the end of races.
Another battle here as Alan Dobbs is starting to fall into the clutches of Jacob Jensen and Mike Rominger once again. Rominger being the quickest of this group most of the laps. This last time around it was Jacob Jensen. Nice run coming up off of 2. Closing in on Dobbs. And Jensen gets into the wall down the back straightaway. Did he get that safer barrier when it jet out?
I'm not too sure.
Well, Rominger closing in on the back bumper now with Jensen as Jensen tries to recover. Rominger closing in here. This is a battle for 4th place. Alan Dobbs up in 3rd. Starting to pull away from this tube just a touch. Brower continues to lead. Senesac is starting to chase him down just a little bit. We were up at 2.5 seconds. Now it's 2.2 as Jacob Jensen. He's going to be the first to come in, and he makes it. Along with Jonathan Cogswell, and it has begun. And Jensen, or rather, Brower. Jacob Brower is coming in. He's going to slide it big time here on entry.
That's probably the wildest entry I think I've ever seen. I mean, he started that back in turn 3 and just really, like, sent it down in there and slowed it up.
Did a real good job there. We'll see if that's the quickest way to do it. You know, it might be better than stopping to 90 miles an hour in the middle of the corner and dropping down. Weatherby is in as well. Alan Fox comes in. Bryce Senesac stays out. He's going to try the same. That might just be the way to do it. As Dobbs is trying the top side. He's going to get big time sideways, trying to get down. Oh, man, he closes in big time on Senesac, but almost hits those barrels. Everybody's coming in now. Bryce Senesac, Alan Dobbs, Mike Rominger, Dustin Carroll. Matt Cochran's still out on the racetrack. Jacob Brower's coming back out onto the racetrack. Where does Jacob Jensen stack up? Going to be able to use up all of this banking. He's got a ton of time to make up on Brower, who's coming up off of 2 right now. Matt Cochran's going to inherit the race lead as he stays out another lap. Senesac, Dobbs, and Rominger able to get out, but Brower down the front straightaway into turn number 1. He's going to clear them all with relative ease. Jensen's going to inherit what will be second place when Matt Cochran decides to come down pit lane. We'll put Dobbs into third, Senesac behind him. Rominger, Cogswell, Urban, Carroll, Weatherby, Morris, Orsini, Fox, and Kilo. Drivers on the lead lap. Ed Morris Jr. is in 15th. Daniel Krim is in 16th. Ed Morris is 2 down to the race leader. Matt Cochran comes into the pits. Jacob Brower, he's going to inherit the race lead.
And by a commanding amount as well.
He's got 3.7 seconds and just ran the fastest lap of the race of 29:17. Keep an eye on what Jensen's able to do. He's stuck behind that 71 of Kilo.
I think he's going to make
loose up on the top side.
And that's scary right there for Dobbs. Dobbs has to really kind of pray there because, I mean, like I said, there's not really much of a place to go here. So he just kind of had to hang on and hope that he doesn't get turned there.
Senesac tries to move down to the inside coming up off of 4. This is not poor position. Good play, Senesac able to get back to, well, get in front of that 71 machine, get closer to the 38 of Dobbs, who got big time loose there coming up off of 2. Dobbs trying the outside of Jacob Jensen now. Trying to close in.
Yeah, meanwhile, I mean, Brower's just pulling away up to a 4.3 lead over these guys.
Brower doesn't mess around. When he's got a good car, he puts it to good use. We're going to go ahead and step side by side one more time. We'll be right back with the finish here in Darlington.
The search is over. The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Back live here, 27 laps to go, and Jacob Brower has opened up over a 5-second lead. Meanwhile, the battle for second has been intense, as you've seen during our side-by-side coverage. Jacob Jensen trying to hold off Alan Dobbs, while Dobbs has a very hungry Senesac behind him. A little bit sideways for everybody coming up off of that corner, and Senesac is able to take advantage of his run coming up off of 2. Here comes Dobbs up to the top side, looking to the top side of Jensen. We saw this work for Brower. Is it going to work for Dobbs? Jensen slides up the track. Dobbs gets loose, and Senesac has to react.
Yeah, these guys are racing like it's for the lead. I mean, they're all over each other and not giving much space and just trying to take advantage of every single run they're getting.
Dobbs had himself a wide exit there, had to let off the throttle to keep it off of the wall. Now Senesac back down to the bottom. He's going to get down to the apron to try to help that thing turn a little bit better. He's not going to have the run coming up off of turn number 4. Dobbs gets sideways. Senesac able to stay in it. He's still at the door going down the front straightaway.
Senesac really sliding up the track a little bit there, trying to just take away any kind of turn off that Dobbs can get.
He did about everything he could to avoid putting Dobbs into the wall there. A little bit of contact down the back straightaway, sent the 0-9 to the inside. He recovers that entry, and Mike Rominger closes in on this battle for second. "24 laps to go with the lady in black. Race leader is Jacob Brower. He's got 5.6 seconds and counting. Phenomenal job of saving tires here for the number 3 machine, Jacob Jensen, in second place. It's about 2.5 tenths a lap slower each time around. He's got 3 very hungry drivers trying to figure out what is what behind him.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if any of these guys have anything for Brower, but I mean, second is not as bad as it sounds.
Robinger with the wall touch there. Senesac trying once again to the inside. He's going to dive it in deep. A lot of brake bias in there, trying to keep it turned on the braking. Using that apron as much as he can as well, but that's just not quite enough as Dobbs gets clear for third place once again. 22 laps to go, and Brower is up to 5.9 seconds. Points leader Alan Dobbs tried to take over second place. Bryce Senesac in fourth place in points. He's trying to close in on these guys. He's got a lot to overcome, but it all starts with passing the points leader, which is the one directly in front of him.
Yeah, and that would be huge for Senesac. I mean, it's showing that you have the power to get around, you know, and run with the points leader.
Jensen gets loose through the corner. Dobbs tries to react. Get to the bottom. He's going to go wide and touch the wall, and now Senesac is almost clear getting into 3. Can he slide up in front of that 38? Dobbs staying super strong up on that top side. Doesn't let him. They hit once again coming up off of turn 4. They hit again.
The more and more that this race goes, the less and less space is given.
Dobbs right up next to that wall. He's got to come down the racetrack. Senesac has to let off to give him the space. The only other choice was turning him there, and you do not want to see a yellow flag right now. Well, maybe with that leader up there you do, but I tell you what, man, this racing is incredible. I don't want to see a caution.
No, not at all. I want to see these guys fight tooth and nail.
You know, I know we beat the dead horse every week, but stuff like this, it just goes to show why the XMS is the place to be. Tuesday nights in Xfinity, Wednesday nights in Cup. This is an incredible league to watch. incredible league to run in. Senesak tries to get right to the back bumper of Dobbs once again. Can't close in, but here comes Dobbs trying to close in now on Jacob Jensen, who is really struggling in the rear end of that car.
Yeah, and as these laps wind down, these cars are going to start driving worse and worse, and it's just going to create a little bit of chaos with these three, almost four drivers as Rominger gets around Senesak. I almost wonder if Senesak had something, maybe not necessarily wrong, but definitely fell behind Rominger relatively quickly there.
Oh, don't get too excited now, but Jacob Brower had himself a little bit of a problem. I think he smacked the wall, and now it's only 5.6 seconds that he's leading. He is trailing a group of lapped cars, 3 lapped cars here, who are not really willing to give much up, as you can see them all over each other coming up off of turn number 4. Ed Morris going to slide up a little bit, trying to get in front of Krim. Those two are racing for position.
Yeah, and Alan Fox is probably just trying to pray and hope that he could stay on the lead lap. That way, if there is one of those late race cautions, he's still on the lap to make a run for it.
It's 4.5 seconds now from Jensen to Brower. Getting behind those cars that were racing side by side really cost the 3 car a ton of time. These guys continue to close in on the race lead. Unsure of if that damage to Brower, if he got up into the wall on this run, and if that's what's slowing him down. Obviously, sitting behind a couple of lapped cars that are side by side doesn't help anything. He's going to move down to the inside. He knows he can't waste any time. Krim's going to keep trying to fight. Fox is going to let him go. Oh, problems here. Jacob Jensen gets into the wall hard. Alan Dobbs is going to be able to get around for second place. Jacob Jensen falls all the way back to 5th.
Yeah, these guys are doing just about everything to keep themselves in position.
Oh, man, Dobbs got into the back of Jacob there. Got him sideways. Fantastic save there by Jacob Jensen, but he's going to lose a ton of time now as the battle for second heats up once again. Dobbs all over the back bumper of Senesak, and that whole ordeal allows Jacob Brower to get back up to a 5.5 second gap.
Yeah, and I truly just believe that unless there's a caution, this race is just going to be a race for second place because Brower is checked out.
He absolutely has, and even if we do get that caution, who's to say he doesn't just drive away like he has throughout the second portion of tonight? I mean, Dobbs now racing with Rominger coming up off of turn number 4. 12 laps to go here at Darlington, and this race has definitely flown by.
Oh yeah, I mean, with this much excitement and this clean of driving, I mean, the laps are just ticking off quicker than a timer.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are incredible. Dobbs gets up into the wall there. He's going to keep it off of Rominger. Almost came down the racetrack. Mike going to try to keep his momentum down there on the bottom side. Dobbs does not want to give this position up. Getting into turns 1 and 2. Dobbs right up next to the wall. Jensen going to try to follow him. Rominger goes up the racetrack. Dobbs using everything he can. Everything Rominger will give him. Going to be able to hold on to that spot for now, but they're allowing second place to get away, and Jacob Brower has had another issue. Ed Morris is able to get around him once again, and you've got to wonder how much of those tires struggling, because it's 3.2 seconds between first and second.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been behind those lapped cars, and it's got to be wearing his tires down just a tad bit more because he's trying to find ways around them. Not really getting lucky and just having to really fight these guys. So, I mean, it's going to wear his stuff down to where maybe Senesak can really try to start closing this gap quicker.
9 laps to go, 3.2 seconds separate the top two. Another second back to third place, and Rominger is all over the back bumper of Alan Dobbs for third place. Brower continues to lead, and it seems okay for now. He's managing that gap. He gets side by side in front of him, and he lets off.
That's going to shrink the distance between him and Senesak down to just under 3 seconds now.
I suppose the right side of that car looks pretty clean right now. Did look like there was a bit of damage, but coming up off of the corner, still not able to get around Ed Morris. Morris got out of his way earlier on in the race. 2.5 seconds with 7 laps to go. Bryce Senesak right up next to that outside wall, trying to get every ounce of momentum coming up off of turn number 2. Side by side up in front of Brower. Gonna have to change his line. Alan Fox up on the top side. Doesn't fight him too hard. .4 across the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's shrinking. There's still a lot of lap cars in front of him here. Senesak is on a mission.
Another compromised entry there for Brower as he had to go down to the inside of Orsini. And Morris gets a little bit loose. 2 seconds is the gap with 5 laps to go. I don't think there's going to be enough time to make all that up. But if something happens up in front of this 3 car, he's got to check up big for it. Could be all she wrote. And Morris gets up into the wall. Brower has to jump down the racetrack. It's under 2 seconds, but 3 lap cars in between first and second place. Bryce Senesak, 4 laps to go. It's under 2 seconds. Alan Fox is in front of him. Senesak makes his move early, shows his plan. He's going to be able to get down to the inside, but that costs him a ton of time under to Jacob Brower.
Yeah, and it's just, you can see that gap just slowly increasing again once Senesak had to get through some of that traffic there.
Rominger was able to get around Alan Dobbs for third place. Tried to chase down Senesak for second. Just under 3 seconds behind the race lead. Jacob Brower is pretty much cruising away. He doesn't have anybody in front of him with 3 laps to go. Two more times around for Jacob Brower to claim his 3rd race win of the year. He's done a phenomenal job so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Showing what a powerhouse that he can be. I know he's had a couple rough finishes here and there that really kind of set him back a little bit as far as the point standings, but always finding a way through to make up for that with multiple wins this season already.
Done himself a great job with 2 wins so far on the season. Coming up off of turn number 2, he's got just over 2.5 seconds for his gap. Tell you what, man, that is a phenomenal run for the number 3 of Jacob Brower. He's going to come through the final corners. He's going to get himself the win here at Darlington. Jacob Brower gets it done. Second place is going to be Bryce Senesak, and third is Mike Rominger. Alan Dobbs in 4th, able to keep Jacob Jensen behind him by just a hair. Paul Irvin up in 6th place. Crossing the line now, Nicholas Weatherby. Dustin Carroll. And Jonathan Cogswell. Alan Fox finishes 1 lap down to round out the top 10. Frank Orsini, David Calo, Ed Morris Jr., Ed Morris Sr., Daniel Krim, Matt Cochran, Michael Self, Joshua Vidal, Forrest Smith, Joe Darnell, Todd Keir, Josh Wren, Mike Campeggio, Nicholas Caldwell, Taylor Bertram, and Michael Thwaites rounding out the field. Now we get to watch Brower burn it down the front straightaway. All right, well, we'll start with our third place finisher, Mike Rominger. Mike, it's Liam and Jordan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got.
Well, first off, what a drive by you. You started in 9th place, and you were kind of up and down through the field throughout the course of the day. Walk us through your run and what you have under you.
Well, it was decent at the start of the race, but once the sun went down, the track got cooler. I think the track came to me. Longer runs definitely helped me. So, yeah, it was a good one.
Definitely had a good race here. Walk us through some of the battles you had. You guys had a 4-car battle for 2nd place for a long time there in that final stage. Walk us through racing with guys like Senesac, Dobbs, and Jensen.
Yeah, they're great drivers. They're really skilled. I was just trying to bide my time and wait for a mistake and pounce on it. That's mainly what I was doing. I was trying to race the racetrack, not the drivers.
Did a really good job of that by showing up late in the run, being able to get around Alan Dobbs to that podium spot. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank for such a strong run here in the 4-car?
Yeah, all the teammates down prime time, everybody that puts on the show every week, all the drivers, all you guys up in the booth that put on the show, the admin, the sponsors, everybody. So, yeah, I'd like to thank them.
Well, awesome stuff, Mike. Congratulations on the podium finish. We'll hopefully be talking to you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's Mike Rominger. Now, Jordan, I believe you've got Bryce Senesac with you.
Yep, Bryce, it's Jordan and Liam up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so, we saw a very heated battle between you, Jensen, Rominger, and Dobbs there. What was going through your mind that entire that run there as, tires wore out and, everything with the track position there?
I was thinking why I pitted a lap later there. Originally, the plan was I was gonna go a lap after Jacob, and it was gonna be cutting it close, and so I was pretty much sputtering and gave up so much time on pit entry to where Dobbs he had pretty much pushing me out to get out of the way, so I didn't get speeding, or he pushed me past my stall or anything. So, and I spun my tires coming out of the box, got stuck behind him and Jensen, and I made a mistake and let Roman get by, and then I guess the 38, 64, they got together, and I was able to get by, and it all worked out. So, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely noticed that passing was a very hard thing to do, as it usually is here at Darlington. A lot of strength up on that high line, and a lot of people won't give that up very easily. What really went into aside from Jensen and Dobbs kind of getting together, what goes into trying to get around somebody at this place?
It's all just trying to time out the run, and I think probably just getting it done as quick as possible, because I think I spent so long trying to make a move. I kind of wore my stuff out, and I had a hope for them to battle to try and catch up, because I had torn down the wall and just had a bad exit out of two that one time, and I thought that was over, I was gonna finish like 4th or 5th. So I mean, it's all just trying to hit your marks and just try and get it done.
Well, you come home second. A wonderful race. Is there anybody that you want to shout out before we let you go?
I gotta thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Ed Morris for all he does. Like it's Gary for all he does for officiating. And I gotta point out though, this is like the first time I've sweated in ever during a league race. I mean, I've done 24-hour races and I've done like a few like Daytona 500s, Indy 500s, never sweated. And I got like a few beads rolling down my face towards the end of that thing. So it was like I did a whole 600 or something. So about the hardest I ever worked for a second place, I guess.
Yeah, you guys definitely were in some hairy situations and really threw it around there at the end. I mean, it was a wonderful battle to watch up here in the booth. I can't imagine how it felt, being behind the wheel. But congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
All right, we'll see you.
Last but not least, we've got our race winner, Jacob Brower, getting the job done here at Darlington. Jacob, it's Liam and Jordan up in the booth. How you doing?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Doing pretty good. Man, that second half of the race, it just lit like a firecracker under you. You put the pedal down and never looked back.
Yeah, she was after the damage that I got in stage 1, I fixed it, and I was definitely happy with how the second half of the race went. It was a lot of fun too. That green flag run, I love green flag racing. It was really, really fun.
We saw that battle with you and Dobbs there to end the stage. Kind of walk us through that. You guys traded paint, traded the lead back and forth a couple of times.
Yeah, he's I like racing with him. He's a pain in my ass, but in a good way. I'm sure you said the same thing about me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was fun. It's probably fun for you guys to call it too. I tried getting around him a couple times. I got in a little bit too high, got into him, he moved me for the stage. All fair. I mean, it's just Darlington. It's really hard to pass. Pretty fun though.
Well, the best way to deal with it being hard to pass is to just make sure you don't have to pass anybody, and that's what you did going into that last run. And we saw your entry into the pits. That was crazy deep into 3.
Yeah, I definitely I was in a party thing with Bryce. He was in second. I was like, dude, I got in the pit road really good. He came out. I ended up gaining over 3 seconds on them and getting into pit road there. That pretty much let me set sail from there.
Well, set sail indeed. That's what you did. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank for such a strong run here today?
I want to thank you and Jordan for everything you guys do. I want to thank Extreme, all the admin. Shout out to Gary. I'm not sure who was helping him tonight, but it ran pretty smooth. And everyone in the league, it was pretty fun tonight. That could have been, Darlington was really rough in officials. So seeing only, I think we had, what, 4 cautions maybe? Maybe less?
I think 4 for cause.
Yeah, but yeah.
That was a great run, and you come home with your 3rd win of the season. Congrats, Jacob. We'll send you back to prime time to celebrate.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's going to about do it for us here on Sim Racing Media. Go ahead and go through our results. Jacob Brower gets the job done over Bryce Senesac. Mike Rominger in 3rd. Then Alan Dobbs, Jacob Jensen, Paul Urban, Nicholas Weatherby, Dustin Carroll, Jonathan Cogswell, and Alan Fox comes away with a top 10. Frank Orsini, David Callot, Ed Morris Jr., and Ed Morris Sr., then Daniel Krim, Matt Cochran, Michael Self, Joshua Vidal, Forrest Smith, Joe Darnell, Todd Keir, Josh Wren, Mike Campeggio, Nicholas Caldwell, Taylor Bertram, and Kyle Knapp and Michael Thwaites round out the field here today. A fantastic race here at Darlington. Jacob Brower drove away with it. Kind of made things closer at the end, but the amazing battle that we see every week this time was for second place. And up until about 5 to go, we had 4 cars under a blanket for it, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. I mean, like these guys make every position fun to watch, race. I mean, they can make probably the last place position an exciting battle. I mean, it's always fun to watch, and the fact that those guys were able to do what they did for several laps before even touching one another significantly enough to cause a slide or any kind of wreck per se is a
Rickmotech, high performance sim racing equipment. There's only one.
racers are.
Definitely does. Sorry for that quick little glitch there, but man, these racers are so good week in and week out. And got another one tomorrow. Same time, same place here on Sim Racing Media. Be sure to join us. It's going to be a great time with the Rickmotech Cup Series. That's going to about do it for us here on Sim Racing Media. Can't thank you enough for tuning in, spending a Tuesday night with us. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. No show next week. We've got the 50-50 dash or 50-50 race for both leagues. So if you're interested in that, inquire more with the league owners. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. And as always, as you walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic. Thanks, folks.
Rickmotech, high performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go. Rickmotech.com.